Okay. Oh. Whoops. VTuber shit. Yeah, I got caught. uh.
You support the College of Policing guidelines on this then, that basically these incidents, even though they're not crimes.
This was 4 years ago, by the way. This has been happening for a while now, probably.
Should be recorded as hate incidents. You support that?
Well, I mean, I should say this has been happening probably before 4 years ago, even before they brought it up here. But it's still happening today too.
College of Policing guidelines.
Right, so that those hate incidents basically then can be seen by advanced checks, even though they're not crimes. They can be seen by advanced checks for people maybe going for certain types of jobs. They will come up. Even though there's no crime involved, that's fine by you.
They'll occur if a particular type of security check is taken, yes. They'll be available to be disclosed.
Do you know very much about the case of Harry Miller that I think you referred to at the beginning there in the High Court? You know about the case?
I know about the case. I'm not an expert in it.
Right, okay. Well, you know that because of various tweets he liked, as it were, he was called by a policeman who said
Oh, sounds
that,
like Germany.
he had come to check his thinking. Check his thinking.
Sounds like Germany right now.
What is your view on that?
That's a matter. I mean, the circumstances of that particular case are a matter for Humberside Police, of course.
Oh
I
shit,
can't
just
comment
liking a
whether the
tweet?
officer
Oh man.
did the right thing or not. I wasn't
Sorry,
part
gonna
of
have to
that
go down to
decision.
Pound
This is
Town.
my decision.
Right, but I mean, you're
All your
you're
electronics
policeman.
confiscated.
This just
Sorry.
happens to be a case where Harry Miller had the perseverance, whatever, to go to the High Court.
Yeah.
We have no idea how this is, how many times this might be happening. He was told that he was had to check his thinking, right? And basically, he came back and said that this is sort of Orwellian. And basically, when the
He even brings up Orwellian. Fucking.
came down to the case, which was about I think he liked some sort of limerick about
You gotta live on.
transformer-
Some of our
transformer.
British counterparts are nice, right?
Policeman then went into all sorts of strange details about.
I don't know if this guy's
I've
is
been
still
on
in
case about it.
in power.
So your policeman,
Or he
are
still
going
has
on
a
courses
position.
about this sort of
He
thing.
might have retired.
The end result is that this man was taken to a very, very, a level of depression because
He either
of what was
got
happening, because someone felt
retired
they could check
or
his
maybe he's still in. I don't know.
thinking. Do you not find that that is an extremely frightening prospect that we're facing now?
It's a matter for Humberside. I can't comment on the Humberside Police case. All I can talk about is what the Metropolitan Police's approach to this is, because that's relevant to Londoners. And, you know, the Metropolitan Police approach is in line with the College of Policing guidance, which is that we recognise that it's important to understand incidents which may amount to some form of...
Yes, I know you've already been through that. You've already told me. But look, the judge, Mr. Justice Knowles, in this particular case, right, compared the actions of the police to the Gestapo or to the Stasi, right? He said very,
Oh no, the
very
Gestapo.
And there is this sort of assumption made somehow that if someone says something which, that is a hate instance, this will automatically possibly lead to a hate crime. And he said that this was, in this particular case, that there was absolutely no evidence to suggest that at all, right? But it's still been reported.
I think I remember watching this at one point. Because
All I
this
can
was
say-
back
Yeah,
in
I do
2020.
understand the point you make, of course
I
do.
believe.
And disproportionality is unwelcome wherever it occurs, and maybe this was disproportionate. I'm not giving a view on that. What I'm trying to say, I'm trying to reassure people that...
Disproportionate.
No, I'm saying there's a... You are suggesting it's a disproportionate. I'm saying that...
No, you're suggesting it's more than that, actually, sir.
Yeah, this is more than
I'm
disproportionate.
I'm trying to... sort of-
I would assume.
to-
I would assume just like how it is in. Right. I mean, British land is probably a little bit different, obviously, but we do have some similarities in some of the things we've taken from their laws and shit. So it's like, to me, this is wild, right? Right, the fucking thought crime, like even London and the EU wouldn't be doing this shit, but now they are. It's so fucking weird. Like, what?
What you want to hear from me.
I mean, it's one thing for like when Biden was weaponizing the DOJ and FBI and Twitter and shit. Right, with the Twitter files and whatnot. It's like, all right. But this is insane, man.
Which is it important
Like, what?
for the Metropolitan Police to
And then you have fucking Justin Trudeau kind of being a fucking weirdo too.
recognise these kind of issues as potentially important? Yes, it is. Should we know that when we go to a neighbour dispute, for example, or any other kind of dispute, should we know that previously, when officers have been there, one or other of the parties has used offensive language for whatever reason, based on the personal characteristics of the other person? Is that an important thing for the officer to know in understanding how best to deal with the incident in front of them? I would say yes. So I think the principle is correct, and if you speak to many officers, you'll know that they go back time and time again to these kind of things, and they escalate. And this is the whole purpose of making the record, so that we understand.
This was a case that was not going to escalate. The judge made that perfectly clear. You're making this assumption, and as a result, going down a very, very dangerous road. Very dangerous.
Kind of sounds like what our judges are doing sometimes too. How strange.
Road indeed, I would say. And
I think apparently Amy Coney Barrett was getting threats because she ruled a certain way. She caved, basically. That's what happened. I think that's why. That Amir, right? The fucking Amir thing happened and everything. Ah, man. I can't. If that's the case, why is she a judge?
if I could just sort of ask you as well in that case.
Don't you people have security details and everything? Like, what are we doing here? You guys are the highest paid motherfuckers ever. Fucking act like a goddamn human being and fucking protect yourselves and fucking do the right thing, right? Don't be a fucking idiot.
Use the word complainant. Wouldn't that be legally far safer?
These are all issues which have been debated and thought about clearly, and there's different approaches one can take. But what I come back to is our job is provide a service which people can be confident in. And I think if we start to use technical language with members of the public, they may not fully understand what complainant exactly means, whereas victim is a commonly understood term, which
it's assuming already that there's a problem. Well, if you put victim in the definition, it's assuming already.
This is a national position that's been adopted, and it's not for the Metropolitan Police Service, unless there's reason to divert from it. So, the terminology victim flows through everything that we do these days. There's the Victims Code, the Victims Charter, the Home Secretary talks about victims' rights. That boat has sailed, I'm afraid, and we use the term victim to describe a range of people. In technical terms, if you're approaching a court case, you're a complainant.
Well, I mean, the issue is with there's a slippery slope with victim, because you can label the two people who are attacking each other victims, right, of each other. I was like, because what if both of them got into a quarrel, right, because they were both yelling at each other and fucking kept, right, didn't de-escalate the situation, but kept making the situation worse, right? It's like, come on, dude, don't do that.
But actually, we choose to use the word victim.
That's why you do complaints first.
Some people don't like that.
And then talk it through and see what's going on, and then get right.
Most acceptable to most people.
Because no charges, because at that point you're trying, right? If they're a victim, then you're trying to get a charge at that point for the person.
Definition that basically it requires no evidence whatsoever.
Yeah,
this is a
exactly. You're already right.
In fact, it requires not only no evidence, but it's the perception of.
Would you not be then being able to then take them in, right? It's like, that's shady.
Or anybody else. What does that actually mean as a policeman? How would you define that? Or anybody else?
Well, the purpose of the wording as it is to
that's like thought crimes, dude. That's like, what are you doing?
Because it's the important thing to understand about harassment and victimisation is there's the physical act, but then there's the perception and the effect it has on the individual. These are very difficult things to get right in exact language, but we try.
What do you
And this
mean?
definition is
What? Just use complaint. Complaintee. Like, what's wrong with that? Why are you labeling everyone victims? It's a complaint, is it not? Are you not investigating it? If there's a complaint? Well, what if, do you not get house calls to be domestic complaint, right? It's like, come on, dude. Like, what are you doing? Don't do this.
designed to recognise.
But why are we playing these fucking games?
That if you feel that the motivation behind the commentary is based on your personal characteristics.
See, even with this fucking guy, it's 4 years ago, right? This was 4 years ago. And you see this shit still happening today, where they're trying to fucking use certain terminology or verbiage to get their way. It's so fucking stupid.
Offensive, then that's how you feel. That's
Yeah.
your reality.
But therefore, it then should immediately become a crime statistic or a hate incident statistic, even though you feel that.
Well, that's how.
Yeah, that
Because
too.
you're-
It's
you're
also
saying to me
subjective
now
as well.
he's
Yeah.
somehow hateful. What can I
Yeah,
go and
I was
report
like-
it? Yes, I can.
Well, I'd like to think I'm not being offensive.
I'm just using that as an example,
Yeah.
and you know full well what I mean, sir. Here.
No, no.
Listen, the fact is that it seems to me that you are now policing people's thoughts. If a police officer turns up and says, "I've come to check, I would need to check your thinking," right? The mere fact that even if he was going above and beyond these guidelines, that he felt he could do that. And what worries me is how many people, right, who don't have the various perseverance maybe of Harry Miller, actually would just simply go along with it because they're none the wiser.
Yeah, essentially you could be just... Yeah, you're just trying those people because, oh, what, you got caught up in our entrapment, basically.
I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure what you want me to say. I mean, I'm trying to set out the general.
Yeah,
position.
fucking Fed posting,
the
right?
specifics of
Yeah.
the homicide case is difficult for me to comment on for obvious reasons. And it's not my fault.
Goddamn Fed posting. I'll put a bullet in you,
It's not
motherfuckers.
something that's familiar to me. What I can do is describe the approach the Met Police takes and explain the reasons why we take that approach. And that's pretty much the approach most police forces take. College of Policing Guidance is evidence of that. And I think it's the right approach for the reasons I've articulated. Will there be occasions where somebody gets it wrong? Undoubtedly, there are all the time, not just with this type of thing, but with all sorts of things. We're all human. But it doesn't mean that the principle is wrong, I think.
I think the principle is wrong. I think that it is. I'm alarmed to hear you say that you have no problem with the guidelines. I am very alarmed because this is making you into the thought police. You know, it's making you the thought police, not just the police.
That's
And when
funny.
you think as well, what we've
Because
been
where
discussing
are we now today
today
in
about
the
sexual
UK?
offences, about violent crime going up, the mere fact that whether it's the Met Police or wherever it is
Oh,
in the
man.
country are doing this kind of thing, you know, will make most people.
Oh, man, this was
extremely
4 years
frustrated
ago.
at the very, very least.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. God damn, it's still happening, ain't it? Hmm. They're still doing their thought crimes in Canada. I mean, not Canada. Well, they might be doing it in Canada land too at this point. But in fucking UK land.